it's Clay. Welcome to another League of Legends video. This is going to be another replay analysis, this time focusing on our Singed player right here. Thank you for sending in this replay. A couple of just introductory thoughts about this LoL replay series that I've been doing. First of all, I very much enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to continue with it. I think that it has been, not so. Some of my concerns previously were just about scheduling, and a lot of my other commentaries just required a lot of time investment. Whereas these replay file analysis, just they're a little bit more. You sit down, you watch the replay, and you provide your commentary and your coaching and your thoughts that way. So I'm very happy with how that has gone. If you're interested in your replay being featured on one of these replay analysis shows, feel free to participate. You certainly are welcome to. The way to do that is to send a replay file in an email to me at clayplaysreplayanalysis@gmail.com. I'll have a link down in the description. I accept replay files from pretty much any replay system imaginable. I'm very flexible on this, but please note that I have had a lot of trouble with LoL replay. The ones I've had the most success with are Baron Replay and op.gg. They both have a replay system. Another thing you could do is use something like Fraps or OBS and record. The OBS is open broadcast software, and that's what I'm using to record this right now. You can record your own gameplay and then upload it somewhere and then send me a download link in the email. A lot of different ways you could do it. If you have questions, just send me an email and we can talk about it. But please note that if you have sent me a replay file with LoL replay and I haven't shown it on this series, it's probably because I haven't been able to get it to work. LoL replay is very, very buggy, unfortunately. So if you really want to have your replay featured, the best thing I can recommend is using Baron Replay or op.gg. Those have been the most reliable ways. So anyways, this series, if you don't know, if you haven't seen this before, what I do is I provide gameplay feedback and coaching. I watch your replay. This is the whole idea here is to provide gameplay feedback to help you improve, to help point out some of your mistakes. I am actually currently in my promotion to Diamond. It's the off-season right now. I finished the season in Platinum 1 at about 70 LP, so I couldn't quite make it to Diamond, but that was mostly just due to time constraints. And I've never, I play League of Legends for fun, and so rank is just a secondary thing. But just so for there, I know that there are some people out there that get caught up, like if they're receiving coaching from somebody who's in silver, they wouldn't really care for that. So with that in mind, here I am providing coaching and hopefully going to help this Singed player improve. So, and also for those of you that are watching, feel free to provide a comment. You can provide any sort of feedback about my commentary or just the way that this series is done in general. Anything I welcome. But if you're going to comment on the gameplay, which I think is totally fine, I would strongly encourage it to be gameplay focused in terms of providing helpful feedback that can help the player improve. It's just saying something like, oh, they're terrible and they're, just bronze level gameplay. Well, you know what? Everybody started in bronze. Technically I started in silver. But anyways, we all have been there at one point. There's only one way to learn the game, and that is to try and get better, and this is one way to do that. So, I'm actually going to back up a little bit and focus on the gameplay. Just to talk a little bit about Singed in general. Singed is a very weak early laner. So if I was playing this game, if I was the Singed player, I would be going into this game with my intention is to just try and stall the laning phase out. Doing a nice job here of going for level 2. And a quick note here. So I've talked about Singed's weak early game. So in order to, what you really want to just do is just try and stay relevant in terms of farm. Singed's power is very much closely related to his mana pool in the early levels. So starting Flask was a nice choice because that really helps replenish your mana pool. Without mana, you can't fight because your damage is all tied into your poison trail. So, and also I tend to try to go PvE, meaning player versus environment. PvE, not PvE. PvE. Rather than PvP, player versus player, in the early levels. I think Singed is best as a farmer, as somebody who's just trying to stall the laning phase. You're not trying to fight, you're not trying to get kills, you're just trying to stall it out for late game, where Singed becomes an absolute monster. So, one thing to talk about, I talk about this in my AD carry gameplay, replay analysis. Level 2 in top lane is also extremely important. If you're going to play top lane, you need to memorize when a champion will hit level 2. In a solo lane, that means that you receive the entire first wave of minion experience, which is already pretty much dead here. I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's still 1 minion left. There's 6 minions in the first wave, 6 minions in the second wave. In order to hit level 2, you need to receive experience, which means you're in range when the minion dies. In range meaning you can pretty much see it if it's in vision. You're within experience range. You need to be in range. You need to receive the experience for the first 6 minions, and then 1 melee minion will hit level 2. And if I were you at this point, I would be racing to hit level 2. So if we look at the red minions, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 melees, and then 1, 2, 3 ranged. You need to kill 2 of these melee minions to hit level 2. And as we watch this play out, what I would be doing is laying some poison in this area to kill these... Oh, hello. To kill these creeps. You can see Aatrox hit level 2, and you're going to hit level 2 right now. There you go. What you want to do, especially on a Singed lane, is you want to hit level 2 so you can not die, is basically the idea. If Aatrox hits level 2 a lot faster than you, he's going to be a lot more powerful than you are, and he could potentially kill you. I also think that, I'm just going to pause it for a second, I think both the Aatrox and the Singed player have made a little bit of a mistake in terms of their skill order. For Singed, I think starting Q is fine, but then as your second point, I would really recommend taking Fling. And so what you do is you put on your Poison Trail, you start to fight him in your creeps, and then you fling him back into your creep wave. So if he fights you, he's going to be both fighting you and the minions. But instead, by taking Poison Trail, you kind of weren't really able to get as effective as a trade as possible. So just a little tidbit, take E level 2 and Q at Q level 1, E level 2. And for the Aatrox, just a quick note, I think E at level 1 is fine, but then I prefer Q at level 2. W is more of a sustain spell, but Q and E are a little bit better for fighting. Aatrox has one of the best level 2s, and especially with Exhaust, I really think you should be taking Ignite and look to go aggressive. But, back to the Singed player. Okay, nice job hitting 3. So at this point, I think you had a little bit of an opportunity to play a little bit more aggressively there. There was a little window when you were level 3 and he was level 2. That means you have a whole extra ability, whereas he doesn't. You have a whole extra bit of base stats. You know, in case you weren't aware, every time you level up, you gain health and armor and attack damage and all the movement speed, all these things. Actually, I don't think you gain movement speed. But you gain a whole bunch of things whenever you level up. And so you're a lot stronger, and you want to try to take that as an opportunity to go aggressive. I think you're doing a nice job. A little tiny note is when you buy Flask, you always want to use your Flask charges before you use your mana pots, because your Flask charges will refill whenever you go to the fountain, but your potions are gone forever. Little tiny note is you want to try to make sure you have poison running when you fling, so that when you fling him into poison. Also, another small note on Singed in the early levels, you want to try and ration your poison. If you get something like Tear or Catalyst, you can kind of leave your poison on indefinitely. But in the early levels, you want to try and use your poison in little spurts. So you put the poison on, you turn it off. You turn it back on, you turn it off, kind of in that pattern. Oh, the replay is going to freeze again. Gonna pause here. Alright guys, I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a glitch there, so I had to skip ahead a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I hope that I'm okay. But anyways, as I was saying, with Singed in the early levels with your poison, so let's go ahead and read the tooltip here. It deals Poison Trail that deals, this doesn't actually give it, but from what my memory is from reading it on the wiki, a little bit of a mistake here, which I might talk about in a second. Okay, so we did end up dying there. I'm going to just pause and finish my thought. So, about Singed Poison. If you leave your poison on indefinitely, it's actually a little bit of an inefficient use of your poison, because continuous exposure will only reapply a dot. And a dot stands for damage over time. And so it says enemies caught in the path will be dealt magic damage each second for 3 seconds. So, this doesn't say it on the tooltip, but that's from the wiki article that I'm looking at right now on another monitor. So, what you do is you have those 3 seconds where you're continually renewing, but let's say you apply poison and then you wait a couple seconds and then you start applying your poison again. You can keep that continuous exposure going without expending mana in between seconds 1 and 3, if that makes sense. So, kind of turning it on, turning it off, turning it on, turning it off in quick little spurts is a little bit more efficient way to use your mana, and this is especially true if you're farming minions. If they have the little burn going on above their head, meaning that they're poisoned, if you leave your poison on, it's a little bit of an inefficient use of your poison. So let's talk about what happens right here. A couple of thoughts. First and foremost is that you're out of flask charges. One thing that I said is that Singe's power is very, very much tied in with his mana bar. You're low on mana and you have no more flask charges. You've got about 1,000 gold. You have teleport. At this point, I would be playing a little bit passively. But I believe you step up and you want to try and proxy the wave. Now, unfortunately, Aatrox gets a knockup, and he's under his tower, so that means trouble for you. He goes and exhausts you, and then pretty good use of your thing right there. Now, I think that might have been a time to flash. If you would have been anticipating that he would flash you, or Q you, he already used his Q, so you know that was on cooldown, but if you were anticipating the flash, you could have flashed responsively. But I think in general, you just made a little bit of a mistake, because I think it was maybe a little bit of a mistake just to be there in the first place. So, you know, again, your power level is closely tied to your mana bar, so not having a mana means probably not the best time to go in proxy. Also, this is a minor note, but I am a big person who prefers Ghost on Singed instead of Flash. I don't think Flash gives Singed very much, but I think with Ghost and your ultimate, it means that Singed becomes very much uncatchable. So I really prefer Ghost instead of Flash, just me. Alright, let's talk about some other things. So first and foremost, you went for a Tear, which is fine. I think Tear is okay on Singed. I get that from time to time myself. Pink Ward is an okay buy. Should be laying there. They're laying some poison down. That was fine. That was a fine trade there. Now, one thing about this Pink Ward, though, is that it will be difficult to defend. So maybe I would have maybe preferred putting it here, just so because it's a little bit easier to defend. But with Pink Wards, you want to try to think of it as an investment over time. You want that Pink Ward to be up as much as possible. Anyways, let's get back to some of the itemization choices. So first and foremost, we went with Tear. The biggest thing you need to understand whenever you buy a Tear of the Goddess, it means that you are very, very weak for the near future. You have absolutely, like, almost no combat potential. Now, this is a little bit less true for Singed, because Singed turns mana into health for his passive, via his passive. But still, investing 700 gold into a Tear, all that means is that you have sustain. You have the ability to stay in lane longer, but when you're actually fighting Aatrox, it doesn't give you any power. Whereas Aatrox got a Spectre's Cowl, which gives him both health and magic resist, and a little bit of sustain, so he's got more combat stats. So understand that your itemization has left you very weak, and so continuing the earlier trend that you're not really in a position to fight, this is still true. It's a fine purchase because it scales really well, and Singed is a very high scaling tank, but keep that in mind. Also, we have a heavy investment into consumables. So this itemization choice here means you are like fully committed to sustain and not necessarily combat. Good juke right there. One thing I will say about proxying this wave, okay, there we see Warwick's Howl. That means he's nearby, and this is probably going to be the end of you. Okay, so I think that proxying on Singed is a good idea, and then he takes your pink. So that kind of confirms that I think the pink would have been a little bit better here. But if you're going to proxy on Singed, I think that you absolutely have to get wards in this location. This ward doesn't really help you that much, because you can already see this area. Instead, I very much would have preferred you stick a ward in this area, because this is where Warwick is going to come from. He's going to be coming from this camp, and this camp he's going to come from this direction. Getting a ward, preferably right here at the corner of this bush, will see him come to you, and that will give you the options of what to do. Also, I think that you should have used your ultimate. And also, if you had Ghost, with a combination of Ghost and Flash, I think you could have gotten out. Pretty much the second that Aatrox went to fight you, I probably would have just popped my ultimate. You were a little bit lower on HP. Again, you don't have very much combat stats, so you just want to kind of make it out. Using your ultimate on Singed, you should probably consider it to be something you can use frequently. Holding onto your ultimate with Singed doesn't really make a lot of sense because, especially in the early levels, you're just trying to farm and stay alive. And if you can use your ult, it's going to be up soon anyways. If you have Ghost, you can kind of trade those back and forth, and you've got a lot of mobility and escapability. So if you're going to proxy the wave, I think that those are some of the choices you need to make. You need to take Ghost, and you need to be a little bit more willing to use your ultimate to get away if things get a little hairy. And on top of that, you need to be warding in this area to prevent Warwick from ganking you. So with those three things, more liberal use of your ultimate, taking Ghost instead of Flash, and warding properly, I think you could have avoided that death. So you're doing still a nice job of farming, and you're forcing Aatrox to proxy, or to hold this wave, which is totally fine. This is good for Singed, because what this means is you are trading farm. And trading farm on Singed is a very good thing, because like I said, Singed scales really, really well, but he's a very weak early laner. So this is a very good trade-off for you. Also, continuing to talk about the itemization choices, it looks like you're going for a Catalyst. I think, in my opinion, that this is a little bit too greedy. Tear and Rod of Ages is probably the strongest combination of late-game scaling items possible in all of League of Legends. And so by going for both of them, you are making yourself this monster late game, but for the next 30 or 40 minutes, you're going to be very weak. Good juke right there. That was very nice play, well played. Again, I'm not a big fan of this ward. I would have much preferred it go in this area. But if you are going to go for this itemization choice, you are saying that I am going to be worthless for the next, 15 minutes, but in exchange, I'm going to become a beast late game. Good job using your ultimate there, and you flash out, so that's fine. I think that was totally fine. Just try to live at this point. Good use of the slow. I'd say just run all the way home. Okay, so you've done a nice job of drawing pressure. That what you just did right there was very good Singed play. The whole point of playing Singed is number one to farm, and number two to draw pressure. So you made Warwick and you made their mid laner, this guy, Victor, come up to you, and they aren't getting anything for it. Warwick is going to die here, I think. Yeah, I mean, you got a ton of pressure. You are making it so your allies can make plays around the map. You're making it so, like, if Warwick and Victor are up here, it means they are not down here, relieving pressure from Ezreal and Thresh to make plays. And most importantly, you're wasting time. You did not give them the kill that they were searching for. So I really like that call. I also am a really big fan of the Ninja Tabby. I think that's good itemization in this case. Warwick is heavy auto attack, Vayne is heavy auto attack, and Warwick is heavy auto attack. So a lot of the damage that's going to kill you is auto attack based. So very, very smart itemization there in the Ninja Tabby. That's going to scale well as the game goes on. Now with Tear Catalyst and Crystalline Flask and Boots 2, this is really when your proxying should really kick into high gear. Again, I really would feel much, much better if you had a ward, and maybe even two wards in these locations to keep track of where Warwick is at so you can see him coming. That's really the only thing that I would recommend. Getting wards down in this area is crucial if you're going to proxy. Nice job with these double golems. Okay, we see Warwick on the map, so now you don't have to be as afraid. Still going to be a little bit cautious just because you don't have a lot of combat stats. Quickly go take this wave is totally fine. You've got so much sustain that you can pretty much shrug off any of the harass with the level up. Again, we're trading farm with Aatrox, which is totally fine. You could maybe even consider stepping up and taking the wave here, just to be more obnoxious. What you do when you do this is you have to remember that the turret range is here and here, so you need to stay in this little bubble and kind of try to lead the minions in. Sometimes you can come this direction or this direction and then lead them back. But that's fine if you want to wait here. It's a little safer. It just doesn't quite draw as much obnoxiousness, if that makes sense. One of the goals on Singed, I think, is to be really obnoxious. Okay, so here's Viktor. I think that's good. Good so far. You could use your... Okay, this is not something I did not notice. You have been putting points into your Mega Adhesive as your second ability. I think that is a mistake. In 100% of Singed games, I think that the best choice is to go max Q and then max E second. The reason is that W, as you rank it up, I actually want to look this up on the wiki. So as you rank up W, literally the only thing that happens is the mana cost increases, which is a bad thing, and the slow percentage increases. Alright, good ultimate. I don't think he can catch you. Nice, that was good. You should be spamming laugh too. Haha. Just kidding. But really, do spam laugh. At this point I probably would just base. I think with his next round of spells he could probably kill you. But anyways, if you max W, the only thing it does is it increases the percentage of slow from 35 to 75. But if you max your E, the base damage goes from 80 all the way up to 260. And Fling is a pretty important tool for Singed to actually fight champions. So I think that you should definitely be maxing E second. Q first, E second, W third in every single game. Good job of using your poison. I think you guys could maybe turn this. I would be cautious though, because I know you want to be the troll Singed. I understand the mindset and I appreciate it, but think about what tools you have available to you right now, and the answer is you have nothing. Your ultimate is down, your flash is down, and without those tools, and you also didn't take Ghost, without those tools, if somebody goes aggressive on you, it's going to be trouble. So if I were you, I would be a little cautious right now. I'd probably be looking to base and finish that Rod of Ages. If you've got the gold for it, which you do, yeah, see now Singed is just, or wow, Warwick is just going to kill you. Oh, actually, maybe not. Wow. Just get out. Maybe you can try to bait this Warwick, but... If your ultimate comes back up, use it. Good. That'll help you regen a little. This is nice. You've done a nice job of being a little bit more liberal with the use of your ultimate. Fling him into your team. Good. Nice. Very nice. That was good. Well played right there. Nice job of baiting, and now is a good time to back. Get that Rod of Ages as quickly as you can. If you are going to go for Rod of Ages, you want to try and buy it immediately when you have the gold, because you want to get it stacking as soon as possible. To continue talking about itemization, I really, really like Rylai's Crystal Scepter on Singed. I think that is... Nice job of continuing to stack your tier, though. That's really good. But my personal favorite build is tier... or Catalyst, depending on how I'm doing in lane. Tier is nice because it only costs 700 gold, and you can pretty much get it on your first back very, very easily. But Catalyst is a little bit stronger because it doesn't have quite as much of a ramp-up time. So, understand the trade-offs there, but Tier or Catalyst / Rod of Ages into Rylai's. I think Rylai's is so good on Singed. It makes the frustration factor that much higher, especially given that Vayne, Aatrox, and Warwick are all auto-attack champions that you can kite. I really, really think that would be the best choice. Rylai's is so good. And then after that, you want to go for some tank items. Frozen Heart, Randuin's, Spirit Visage, Banshee's Veil, Thornmail, all good options. Never get Sunfire Cape. Sunfire Cape is worthless on Singed because you've got your poison. I like the defensive boot choices, so everything looks pretty good. The build is going to take a while to ramp up, but when it does, you'll be really strong. If you also feel like you need more damage, I think that it's totally fine to add Liandry's Torment. If you're going to get Rylai's, then Liandry's is a really, really good increase in damage. It gives you Magic Pen, which is nice, because Singed has very high base damage. And it also gives you the percentage burn, which you can apply repeatedly with your damage over time. Nice, you're able to get a free flash there. Be a little cautious here. Just because we don't have any magic resist. And unfortunately, I think we baited Thresh into something. Alright. Yeah, that was a little unfortunate, just because I don't know if the Thresh realized that you could escape a lot better than he could. Just going to keep moving forward here. Looks like we're going to be taking any wave we can. That's totally fine. Another thing to communicate is that you have your teleport available. And I don't have the chat available, so I'm not exactly sure. But telling your team that you've got TP up is really, really huge. Okay, similarly to this other side is a big fight going over here that went really badly. Is if you're going to be pushing this lane, a ward in this location is optimal. Because, again, that'll protect your flank. And at this point, you just saw your team die, so try and take whatever you can across the map. And that would be this tower, so this is really good. If you have a ward here, you can take this tower for free, you can proxy this wave for free, and you know if anybody's coming to kill you. Good job dodging, and then you should be home free. Yep, good job. You should... Oh, interesting use of your flash. You can pick up the skill, huh? Nice job. That was well played. That Morgana got a little bit out of a little over aggressive there without backup from her AD carry. All right, looks like we upgraded our Seraphs. I would have preferred we go for Rod of Ages, just because I think that upgrading the Seraphs, while that will give you a big damage spike, specifically what it's going to do is it's going to really increase your AP, because it's going to convert the mana from Rod of Ages and from Seraphs into AP. So that's a really, really big boost in your ability power. But it leaves you a little squishy, and your kiting potential isn't quite as high. Whoa, Thresh. The Diverino. Your kiting potential isn't as high because you don't have the slow from Eyelights, so... Alright, looks like we ended up falling there. That was kind of a crazy team fight, but I think that ended up going pretty good. You know, you did a nice job there. Whenever you're playing Singed, you wanted to basically just run headlong into the middle of the fight and cause as much chaos as you can, and you did a nice job of doing that. I understand who the threat is, too, is really important. In this game, it's probably going to be Vayne, maybe Aatrox, and as such, what I tend to do is just to run at them. And usually, because Singed has so much move speed and slows and flips and disruption, you know, you can really do a lot of work that way. Good job of pushing a side lane. Whenever your teleport is up, I think split pushing is the right move.
Purple team has slain.
Again, I would prefer if you could get a ward down in this area right here, so that you know that if you're fighting this Aatrox, you can fight him safely. You're probably going to have a hard time killing him just because he's got so much sustain that I would more focus on just pushing the minions and getting damage on the tower. You know, Aatrox has so much lifesteal that I think you might have a hard time actually killing him. But good job keeping the push. Good job with this fight. That was the right time to use your ultimate. Good juking. Overall, I think you're doing this pretty well. Again, I would maybe I don't think you have a lot of kill pressure here, so I would just continue to focus on the objectives, pushing down the tower, but this is fine. I like the chain vest purchased. Again, your biggest threats are physical damage. Although you will probably take a little bit of magic damage. So, especially from Morgana and Victor that do have some AoE, so getting a Negatron is probably not a bad idea. Just a really minor thing, but if you've got Flask in your inventory, there's no reason not to pop your charges. This is probably going to be the death of you. Yeah, so this is, this death could have been avoided simply by using your trinket right here. Then you would have seen Aatrox coming, could have turned and ran. Also, I think if you would have had Ghost instead of Flash, I guess your flash was, well, your flash, if you had Ghost, it would have been up because it has a lower cooldown. So just another plug for why I think Ghost is better than Flash. Looks like we're going for Randuin's, I think, or maybe Sunfire. I hope it's not Sunfire. I don't like Sunfire on Singed. I don't think it makes much sense, but that's just my opinion. Gonna keep pushing out these waves. Again, you know, at this point, you just want to keep scaling. You scale so well with items. Keep all the lanes that you can pushing. Use your teleport. Your teleport is available. Okay, this is maybe something where you chose to run all the way down. Okay, you guys do pick up a kill. Good fling there on Warwick. I think this would have served you better to... oh, good fling there. Go for Vayne. Nice. Yep, get out of the ultimate and go right back in. Very good. Good flash there to get the damage down. Just keep trying to be annoying. Use your Seraph Shield. Okay, I think we maybe missed the Seraph Shield. That's a simple error that I think you can fix. You know, if you buy the Seraphs, make sure to learn and remember to use the active component. That's a very powerful thing that probably could have saved your life right there. Good on the Randuins. Now at this point, what I would be doing if I were you is checking my death screen and seeing for specifically what types of damage killed me. If there was any magic damage, I would have maybe considered sitting on my components and just picking up a Negatron. One thing about Singed is that he doesn't have any magic resist per level. So I think when you spawn, we'll see that you'll have like whatever MR you had at level 1, you have 40 MR. So you have very, very little magic resist. Now you do gain quite a bit from your ult, but I still think just getting a Negatron would be a really nice choice. You've got a lot of flat health, so by complementing with both an early Chain Vest and Negatron Cloak is a good choice. Even if it delays your Randuins, I think it's worth it, just to let you survive a little bit longer. You know, you're going to take damage from Morgana and Victor just because they have a lot of AoE. Good job pushing down this tower. Again, okay, looks like your team is actually on that spot, but I really, really will encourage you to get a ward up. You've got your Trinket. Stick it in this area. It's a fantastic ward. Oh, and it looks like they came to kill you. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit and just see... Yeah, see? It looks like Morgana came from your flank. I want to see this on with all vision. So we can actually see Morgana coming in from the side. If you had a ward here, you could see her coming. That would alert you to get out of dodge. Now, you do end up staying to finish the turret, which I think is fine. As Singed and you're 2 and 5, you aren't really worth much. I think that's totally fine to give up your life for a tower. But if you would have gotten a ward down in this area, you could have maybe made a little bit better decision. Just vision is power. Knowledge, it gives you the decision making to make the right call. So you don't have to guess. Alright, so this game is starting to stall out a little bit. I think you guys are pretty strong. One thing I would do if I were you is I would very much... Is your teleport up? Should be your first question, and it looks like it is. So if I were you, I would encourage my team in chat, and I would say, hey guys, why don't you push top, I'll push bottom, ward and encourage Thresh, get wards here, get wards here, get wards here, and you could even encourage them to do Baron. And then while you're pushing this lane out, your team is up here pushing top and or doing Baron. That's going to put their team into the crunch because they have no way to deal with both threats. They can either send 5 people to deal with this Baron, and that means you're going to get towers, or they can send somebody to deal with you, and that means they're going to get your team's going to get a free Baron. So use your teleport, use your split pushing power to your benefit. Give yourself the option to make a play. Good flip there on the Victor. Yeah, he's going to die. Very, very nice right there. That was a very good play. Yep, keep being the lead initiating tank for your team. Very nice. Now look for another target. Let your team finish off Aatrox. Good. Okay, looks like there's the surrender. So overall, I think you played very well. Maybe change a little bit in your itemization. I think that maybe picking either Seraphs or Rod of Ages and not the other is going to help you power spike faster. Go for a Riley's Crystal Scepter as your second item. Get an early Negatron and a Chain Vest to turn into Randuin's and Spirit Vicious or Banshee's Veil. I think that would maybe be a little bit help you power spike a little faster. But you did a nice job with split pushing and focusing on objectives. Really will encourage you to get some wards out to cover your flank, especially if you're going to proxy at the earlier levels. And then lastly, using your teleport to push the side lane while your team presses another objective across the map. But overall, some good gameplay. You did a really nice job of farming. Your farm is really high compared to everyone else. That is definitely something you should be prioritizing as Singed. Change your skill order maybe, max Q, then E, then W. But overall, I think you have a nice basis for improving. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys are interested, feel free to send me a replay of your own, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.